everybody. Welcome back to Client Side Chats. Don't forget to follow us on our YouTube, our Vimeo video channels, as well as Facebook and LinkedIn. And I have to tell you, I've been blessed and really very fortunate and humbled that recently I've had some very, very excellent guests. And yet here is another one, Skipper Kendrick with Kendrick Global Enterprises. He's the proprietor owner of Kendrick Global Enterprises, but I don't really think anybody needs any introduction to Skipper. I mean, if you're in the safety field, you know exactly who Skipper is. And just a real quick thing, Skipper has also been president of ASSP, a former president of ASSP, still very much involved with ASSP. And I will just say this, that we are both two experienced professionals. And Skipper was the one who introduced me into the safety field. He was actually one of my first instructors I ever had in this field. So without further ado, Skipper, welcome to Client Side Chats. I'm glad you're here and willing to do this.
Now, being an elder statesman, it's good to be here these days. And yeah, you wear yours a little bit better than I. But just one point. All of this was well earned over the years. So it's great to see you, and great to have the opportunity to sit and discuss a little bit about this thing we call safety.
Yeah, no kidding. And I tell you, Skipper, I owe you a lot. I mean, a lot because of the education I've learned, gained from you over the years. It hasn't been just the classroom. I know we've remained in contact, and you certainly have been very supportive of me in taking on some leadership roles within ASSP as well. So I thank you for that as well.
You're welcome, and that's what it's all about. And way, way, way back when I had a mentor, and what can I do? And he said, it's very simple, boy. He said, just pay it forward. He said, every now and then, he said, you ask me all these doggone questions. Why this? Why that? Why the other? I've tried to be calm, patient, take the time to answer them for you. You do the same, because there's going to be some up and coming young person that's going to want to know it all. And they may be a raw pain in your butt. However, please take the opportunity to share with them what I've shared with you and what you'll learn over the period. So again, it's, and to the point, one of his others, he said, if you ever get bored and you ever stop learning, it's time to retire and it's time to leave. Well,
good advice.
Sitting here many, many years later, and as we can all attest, the world ain't boring. If it was, it ain't anymore.
That's for very sure. And in fact, to that whole thing, we've been focusing these series of client side chats more towards, obviously we're coming out of COVID, and certainly safety is much more than just COVID itself. So, I'll ask you, like I've been asking others, which is, where do you really see safety going towards the future here? I mean, how do you see us moving forward?
Well, James, that's a good question. And a number of folks have asked me about what is it in the future. Bottom line, I don't know. At some point in time in my industrial career, when I was in the industry, I actually had a crystal ball on my desk. And people came in and, Skipper, where the hell you get those crazy ideas? Well, I just leaned forward and put my hands over a crystal ball and said, don't you see it? Our challenge here is I don't think any of us know what the future will be like, or several other words, normal or the new normal. I don't think we can, at this point in time, I don't think we can sit back here and actually define that. However, I think there's one thing that we do have, and as safety, we have a unique opportunity presented to us now to do what we have been doing for basically all of our professional lives and be at the forefront rather than maybe in the background. So when you're taking a look at it, what have we as a profession, what have we done over our lives? It used to be recognize, control, and evaluate whatever the hazards and risks are. Now we're going to add another word to that, and is to try to anticipate what is coming, and then using what we do best, using good solid data, research, and then back that up with good solid systems and practices. Now, when you're looking at it this time, and just one thing, when you're looking at it this time last year, bring us back to 2019,
Uh-huh.
July 2019. Who else other than us safety professionals was talking about PPE? And it is, even though it is the last methodology of control in our hierarchy, look
Right.
at what's happened to it today. And which is good, I think. We've got the discussion there, but now
Hmm.
people at the highest levels are seeing what we go through on a day in and day out basis about, number one, is it good for you? Number two, no, it's not good for me. All the reasons why I shouldn't wear it, all the reasons why I should, and the conundrum and what we've been going through for our lives as safety professionals. And to see maybe, and to give them an appreciation of what we do. And for many of my colleagues that we've talked to, especially in industry at this point in time, rather than being purveyed as those who are the necessary quote unquote evil from a compliance perspective and the purveyors of coffee and donuts,
You're
they're actually
right.
coming to us and seeking our advice. And this is an excellent, excellent opportunity for us individually and as a profession. The door has been opened. It's what do we do when we get to that threshold, and what are we going to do beyond? And my view is, let's do what we've always done, but in different methodologies, utilizing the different tools,
Hmm.
pointed to a different direction. But we've got the basis in and of our skill sets and our tool sets to really, number one, make a difference. And that's what it's all about, to take care of not only the people, but in doing so, help take care of the businesses as well. And then to maybe get that ear of senior management that we've always sought.
Right. Right. And I could see that. I mean, you bring up so many things in what you're talking about here of really getting confidence out there, that we're serving a confidence building. I know you and I, prior to actually recording this, we were talking a little bit about some of the tools changing, being able to do these things virtually. So these are just going to become, another set of things that we have in our toolbox to really get done, like you say, what we've always had to get done all
Yeah,
along.
yeah,
Yeah.
and one of our greatest tool sets, and
Hmm.
one that we should, as safety professionals, be very comfortable with and be very skilled at, is management of change. Wow,
Mm.
think about
Yeah.
what's happened since January, and how do we and how have we managed that change? And I think we've got the skill set. Is the application of that skill set to the change that we're going through that will allow us to really, I think, as a profession and as safety professionals, to be able to prove our worth uh, to our businesses and become more than just that regulatory compliant person there that's going to keep us out off the front page, keep us out of jail, quote unquote, so to speak. But it also gives us a challenge too, in that in a number of years ago at the Professional Development Conference here in Dallas at the Executive Forum, we had a speaker, Art Daniels of AR Daniels Construction Company.
Hmm.
And as he was talking to us, about 4,000 in the audience, safety professionals, as what do executives want from us,
Hmm.
he had a very strong point. And he said, we need you to come and tell us things that we don't know. But when you do that, talk to me in our language, the language of business, not in your language, compliance, and that kind of stuff. And he said, went on, and he said that those folks that have come not only for his original safety director, but the one or two he's hired in the past, those ladies and gentlemen that have come up and wanted to talk during the interview process about 1926, this, ANSY's, da 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 da,
Yeah.
Z part to, he said, those people were all likely not to get a second interview. Now, the key here is to be able to do that. Just my own personal opinion is that we as safety professionals need to change a little bit out of our mindset. And yes, just finished teaching a 30-hour OSHA 511 class.
Mhm.
That's the functional piece of this. Our mindset now, the door is open, but we got to have a different mindset on the other side of that door. We've still got to retain our functional capabilities, but we've got to put on that strategic mindset and to think from a business perspective, to think from the elements all around it, from the people, from the compliance, from the systems that we have, to be able to interject what we're going to do to handle this COVID in similar ways that we would handle, for example, and guide executives to show them that this is nothing very different than handling a potential where you have a defective part, where you got a dissatisfied customer. What management tools are we going to share? What management tools are we going to do? And you possess those. Let's just guide them and coach them, being coaching up in this case, as to how to utilize those tools that they already bring to the table, but applying not only to this, but if we can set the hook with COVID to be able to reel in that tremendous benefit that we'll have down the road.
Yeah, that's great insight. I love this. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot from that. But Skipper, I know we could continue talking about this kind of stuff, keep, continuing forward. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. But, if you're comfortable, I would like to invite you back into the future here and continue this kind of discussion. Very valuable insight and I know you keep saying it's your opinion, but I think it is a shared opinion amongst many of us in how we would do these things going forward.
Yeah,
So
I,
love the
I,
idea. Set
I
that hook.
would love to, because this, as we say, this is an ongoing thing. And I think if we can, that's been one of the beauties of our profession, James, that
Mm-hmm.
we've taken a look at, is that we can get together amongst our safety professionals. And even though we may be business competitors, the one thing that we're not competitive at is taking care of the lives, taking care of the health, taking care of the safety of the people with whom which we work, not only internally, but outside and globally. So yes, if the opportunity presents itself, would love it. And again, I appreciate the opportunity, and it's good to virtually see everybody. We miss those things, and hopefully one of these days we'll be able to gather together under the same roof and continue these conversations as we have over the many years.
I agree. Thank you, Skipper. Really appreciate it. So we'll talk to you soon. Thank you, sir.
Well, I do
Oh,
not do this. I apologize for this. But when we leave in a meeting or anything else, do we wave bye-bye? No. I'm going to just say we'll see you down the road without the bye-bye wave that we've become so accustomed to in Zoom and Teams and all that other good stuff. So with that, again, thank you for the opportunity and have a safe day.
you too. Thanks, Skipper.